Mark Schlereth actually did, I listened to him, he did the Giants-Seahawks game. And I said this, is last year when the Dolphins beat New England, the initial reaction is, what a shocking upset. And then you wake up a few months later and you're like, not really. Miami this morning is better, and their trajectory last year, you were seeing it. And I'm like, I'm not saying the Giants beating the Seahawks with Colt McCoy is not an upset. It may not be the upset we think it is. If you watch that football game, and I did, Mark Schlereth is joining us, 3 Super Bowl rings and a 2-time Pro Bowler, Fox Sports. Listen, Seattle should have won. I get it. But I'm watching that defensive front for the Giants. I'm watching the Giants run game, and I'm like, Mark, football's about physical play, and the Giants you don't want to get in a phone booth with them. I think they may be the Dolphins of last year, where we're catching them on a trajectory that they may be the fourth best team in the NFC right now. Or am I not? You called it. What'd you see?
Yeah, it's interesting, Colin, because I did the Giants in week 4, and they lost to the Rams 17-9.
Yeah.
And I went to my crew after the game, and I talked about it on my podcast, The Stinking Truth. I was like, the Giants are going to win this division because they are so physical up front. But I will tell you where they have gotten so much better. A couple of things. One, Jason Garrett, from a play calling standpoint.
Yeah.
You want to think about being committed to the run. There's a lot of people that say, hey, I'm committed to the run. But what do they end up doing? They end up getting away from it because they're getting 1 yard, 2 yards, 3 yards. They're not really committed to the run. They just want to develop a quarterback so they can get their next head coaching job. So Jason Garrett continues to call the run. They did nothing in that first half offensively. Guess what happened? They bludgeoned the Seahawks, who had the 3rd best run defense in football in the second half. That's an offensive coordinator that adheres to what the game plan is, right? He doesn't get spooked out of the game plan. So big kudos to Jason Garrett for staying with the plan. And then 2, defensively, you can talk about Patrick Graham, their defensive coordinator. You can talk about that front and Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence and all the guys up front. But let me tell you, they are the most complex, the most disguised back-end defense that I have watched all year on film. When I broke down their defensive tape, it took me twice as long to break down their defensive tape as it has any other defense in football, because the things they show the quarterback, the confusion they create, they are so tied together. They have gotten so much better over the course of this season. What I saw early in weeks 2, 3, and 4 when I studied them compared to what I saw the last 3 weeks, amazing transformation. And I know Daniel Jones didn't play, but Daniel Jones has played exceptionally well here the last 4 weeks. He has cleaned up all the issues that he had. I called it red striping guys early. He's looking off safeties. He's throwing it to the other side of the football field, understands what he's got, where he wants to go with the ball. This is a much improved football team under Joe Judge.
So, it's interesting. I'm watching Kansas City and Denver last night, and memo, the Chiefs are good. I didn't take a lot from Kansas City. They don't play with a ton of urgency. I get it when you're that good. But what the story to me was, sometimes we know this, Mark, you make decisions in the NFL based on what's around you. A prime example, when Peyton Manning was in Indianapolis, the Houston Texans drafted Mario Williams, not Vince Young, not Reggie Bush, and they said, well, we have Peyton Manning in our division. We have to take the defensive end. And I look at Drew Lock, and my takeaway last night was, I got to face Mahomes twice a year, Derek Carr twice a year, and Justin Herbert. Doesn't Denver have to move off Drew Lock? I don't see it. I don't get it physically. I don't get it.
Right.
They have to move off him, right?
Well, I think one, like I just talked about with Daniel Jones, where he was in weeks 2 and 3 and 4 compared to where he was going into week 13, dramatic improvement. Can Drew Lock make that type of improvement? Remember, 6 coordinators over the last 6 seasons, going all the way back to college. So he takes too many chances with the football. He is very raw. He played in a real spread offense at Missouri that really hasn't prepared him to play in the NFL. There's no question that he's got some talent, that he's got some moxie about him. time and place, I'm kind of with you on the time and place aspect thing. Like he throws his second touchdown to score 16 points and he's running down the sideline, with his hand over his ear, like, where are you, Chiefs fans?
Oh, boy.
I mean, let's relax a little bit on that, Drew. All right. I mean, come on. You guys average 18 points a game and you're coming off a game where, by the way, no quarterback played. But again, here's the deal. I was listening to you earlier about assets and draft picks, right? And I came from Washington, where I cut my teeth in the National Football League under Joe Gibbs. And Joe Gibbs had a philosophy. I'd rather trade a unknown commodity for a known commodity. I want a known commodity. I want to know what a guy can do. And by the way, the last time I checked, the draft's still a 50-50 crapshoot.
Yeah.
Half the guys can't play. Half the guys get into the NFL, and it's overwhelming to them. That's why on every team, there's a college free agent that didn't get drafted that's an awesome player, right? Like, how'd you miss this guy? Well, you missed him because you don't know when you get to the next level how a guy's going to respond to playing at the top. And there's a lot of guys, we talk about athleticism and stuff, but it really is from the neck up. Do you understand the game, and how quickly can you process information? Those are the guys that can play.
Finally, Belichick and the Patriots. I mean, it's hard to believe. If I said Cam Newton had 69 yards passing, you'd think he lost or narrowly won, and he won 45-0. And I'm watching that Chargers game, and I'm thinking, those Charger players, they know it's not on them, right? Like, have you ever been in? You had good coaches, so this may not be relatable to you. But have you ever been in a game when you were either on a team with a superior coach or an inferior coach, and you knew it was a mismatch?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've had some situations in the middle of my career in Washington where, we just weren't a very good team. I mean, I'll never forget going to Dallas, I think in '94, and just surveying. I think they had Michael Irvin and Alvin Harper, and they had Mark Tuinei and Nate Newton and Mark Stepnowski and Larry Allen and Eric Williams and Jay Novacek and Moose Johnson and Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman. I'm watching them warm up before our offense came out, and I'm like, damn, we don't have one guy that could start on this team. Like, we're going to get our ass kicked. And we did, So, I mean, I've been there before, so I know what that feels like.
Yeah. Belichick kind of put on a coaching display yesterday, Mark Schlereth. Finally, when you look at the entire league yesterday, and I look at the Philadelphia situation, and Joy and I were talking about this, there are solvable problems around this league, or you can see light at the end of the tunnel. Jets can get Trevor Lawrence. Jags get Justin Fields. But if Jalen Hurts can play, you still pay $35 million for a backup. Is there a solution in Philadelphia to you?
Well, I mean, I think you need to go through some quarterback rehab. And what I mean by that is you haven't protected Carson Wentz all year. He's ended seasons in 2017 that he was having an MVP type of season. I believe it was 2017 with the ACL, and he's been hurt several different times. And you don't protect him. When you watch him play, his feet are all over the place. He never gets, even when he has time, he doesn't ever set his feet properly. So his mechanics are completely broken down, off target on a consistent basis. And I will tell you, it starts with protection, and then it comes down to him. The other thing that happens with teams is they are not threatened by this receiving core whatsoever. So when you watch the Philadelphia Eagles, like even when they're in a zone, those guys are playing flat foot reads. They're reading that quarterback through, they're reading the receiver through, or the quarterback through the receiver. They're not afraid of getting beat over the top. So it's super tight window stuff. Nobody's threatened by this offense, and Carson Wentz is a mess back there. So it starts with protection and rehabbing Carson Wentz, because you're right about they don't have a lot of options paying him $35 million a year.
Good stuff. Mark Schlereth, good talking to you, bud, from his home in Denver. Thanks, man.
You got it, buddy.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.